Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Jessie. Today I'm going to be sharing with you what we had for dinner this week. Now this is going to be easy, delicious, and budget friendly meals. So I'm going to start sharing with you things like this every week. I'm going to be sharing with you what's for dinner videos. So if you enjoy it, comment below and let me know so I can keep on making them. So this first meal is spaghetti and meatballs. Very, very easy and delicious, but this is so flavorful. So I have my pot already filled up with water. I have a little bit of salt and some olive oil that's heating up for my spaghetti. In my skillet, I am cooking up a bag of seasoning blend. This I got from Walmart. It's already chopped up for me. If you don't like to use the already cut up frozen bag, you can just chop up some bell pepper and onion as much as you'd like to your liking. And I'm going to saute this. So I'm going to go ahead and put some butter in there and I'm going to cook it down. I want the onions and bell peppers to cook down and be translucent. And then I'm going to go ahead and use that for my meatballs. So my water is done boiling. I'm going to go ahead and put in my spaghetti noodles. Now I'm using gluten-free spaghetti in this recipe. You can use whatever kind of noodles that you'd like. I do have to eat gluten-free, or I try to most of the time. So I'm going to just be using gluten-free. So whatever I use gluten-free, you just substitute to your liking. So after it's done cooking, I went ahead and drained it. And now I'm going to season my spaghetti. So I like to add a little bit of salt, butter, and pepper, and a little bit or a lot bit of garlic powder. I love that. I feel like it just gives the noodles such good flavor. And I like to season everything. I don't just season portions of my food. I like to make sure my food is very well seasoned. I feel like feeding people is like one of my love languages. And I just love when people enjoy my food and tell me how good my food tastes. So with that being said, I always pay attention and make sure my food is seasoned very well. Now it's time to get those meatballs cooking. So the seasoning blend is fried. It is cooled. It's not hot anymore. So now I'm going to go ahead and add the meat to it. So I'm using ground turkey. I used to use ground beef, but I switched to ground turkey, and now I don't like ground beef and I love my turkey. So I'm going to add just enough for a couple meals because I don't really care too much for leftovers. I will eat it once, after I've eaten it again, but I don't want to have too much left over. So just for two dinners is good. So I'm going to go ahead and just add about half of it, maybe a little bit more. And then I'm going to season this as well. So to my meatballs, I like to make sure they're very, very flavorful. So that seasoning blend is going to give it lots of flavor, but I also like to add a lot of seasonings myself. So I will add salt, black pepper, cayenne pepper for heat. Now, if you don't like the spicy meatballs, you can skip it. We like the extra heat that it gives. I like the spicy meatballs. And then I'm also adding some onion powder, garlic powder, and some Italian seasoning. Now that is all that I add in here, and it's going to be giving it such a good flavor. And that is what I like. I don't like buying the pre-made meatballs that you can get. I don't like those. I've tried them before, just not worth it to me. So I rather make my own and season it the way that I like. So now I'm just going to go ahead and mix this all up. And then I'm going to go ahead and start frying up my meatballs. Now, I know people sometimes will just put their meatballs into the sauce, like make the balls out of the raw meat and just put it strictly into their sauce while the sauce is cooking. I don't like that because I feel like the balls like break up. I don't want that extra meat in my sauce. I just rather have the meatballs in the sauce. So that's why I'm frying mine for a couple of reasons. So one, because it will hold together and it won't fall apart in the sauce. And then this way, I just feel like it just gives it that extra flavor and it's just so good. And also it cuts down on the cooking time. So I'm going to be browning them as much as I can, and then I'm going to remove them and then put the sauce in and then add them back and then just let them cook and, you know, be on low and just cook all the way through in the sauce until all of those flavors combine. So that's all that I'm going to be working on now. I'm just going to flip them as they cook. As you can see, they have a nice color to them and they're just holding together very well, and that is what I want. So they're not going to be cooked all the way through. So for the most part, they're going to be brown, but they're still going to be a little raw on the inside, but it's okay because they're going to finish cooking in the sauce. So now I'm going to go ahead and get them out and go ahead and put them in a bowl to the side. And then I'm going to fry the remaining of the meatballs. Now, I typically would use the how the pan looks now. I would go ahead and add my sauce to it if it looked like that. But whenever I fry these, you can tell it's starting to burn, and I will not use that. So just to let you know that, because you're not going to see that in the next clip where the pot's going to have like the little drippings in there. So you're not going to have that. So I'm going to go ahead and fry the rest of these really quick, and then I will put the sauce in and add them to the sauce. So all of them are going to be put right back into the skillet. As you can see, the skillet was nice and clean. There was no drippings in there because the bottom burnt. So I'm going to add in my spaghetti sauce. Usually I do 2 jars, but I didn't have an extra one. So instead I'm going to add in this can of the sliced stewed tomatoes. Now I'm going to be seasoning this up as well, so it's going to have that good flavor. But just keep that in mind. You're going to want a couple jars depending on how many you're making or how much you're making, because you don't want it to be dry and not have enough sauce, because mine was almost, didn't have enough sauce in there. So I'm going to go ahead and season, and the same thing when it comes to my sauce. I like to do salt, pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, Italian seasoning. I don't add any cayenne to the sauce, just the meatballs, because I don't want it to be too spicy. And that is it. I'm going to put this on low, let it simmer. That way the sauce will thicken up, incorporate all of those yummy seasonings, and it'll just be bursting with flavor. And the sauce is also going to thicken up as well, but I am going to be stirring it every now and then. I'm not going to just forget about it, so keep that in mind. And then I'm also going to be making some homemade garlic toast. We did have a couple packs, but we ended up eating them the other day with another meal, so I decided to go ahead and show y'all how I would make my garlic bread at home whenever I don't have any on hand and I really want some garlic bread. And it is super easy. So I have some bread that I need to go ahead and use up, so I'm going to be using that. It's just regular, just sandwich bread. It's just nothing fancy. So the first loaf that I'm using is actually my gluten-free bread, and it is a sandwich bread as well. So I'm going to just get the bread and smear some butter all over them, and then I'm going to put some garlic powder and Italian seasoning on there, and then a sprinkle with cheese, and it is so delicious. I used to do just only garlic, and then I went to garlic and cheese, and then I realized the Italian seasoning just takes it to a whole nother level. So if you've never tried it before, definitely give it a try. I also like to use French bread when I make it myself as well. But like I said, you can use whatever kind of bread you want. You can fancy it up, or you can just use the regular sandwich bread. I know with the prices being so high nowadays, everybody's doing everything on a budget. So this is also budget friendly as well. As you can see, the sauce has thickened up and it has been simmering for a little while now. And this is when I feel like my spaghetti is done. And I'm going to go ahead and plate it now. Super, super easy and delicious. And that is what it looks like when the garlic toast is done as well. You can cook it a little bit longer if you want it browned a little bit more. I didn't want mine too hard, but this is what it looks like. Super easy, so, so delicious. If you give it a try, let me know how you liked it, because this was just so, so good. We actually ate on this a couple nights, so I like whenever I make bigger meals and they last a couple days. The next meal is going to be my oven barbecue baked chicken. Super easy as well. This can also be a crock pot meal if you like. So I have my chicken legs in my baking dish. They have already been cleaned. Clean your chicken if you like, or just get it straight out of the bag. However you do your chicken, just go ahead and season it once you have it in the skillet. Now I'm just using my rotisserie chicken seasoning. I found this at Super One, so you can see if you have it. It is very, very good. See if the local grocery store that you shop at carries it, because it is delicious. And I'm going to sprinkle both sides with this. I want to make sure my chicken is fully coated. I don't want my chicken to be bland, so I'm going to be generous with this. I'm also going to be adding some barbecue sauce to this as well. So I want to make sure I have enough in there. But you can season yours with anything you want. And you can also use whatever barbecue sauce you like to use. Now I'm using two different kinds. I really like the sweet and spicy one, but I feel like it's a little too spicy if I just use it by itself. So I like to kind of, like, I guess you could say, dilute it a little bit. So I use some other barbecue sauce to go along with it. I'm also using the honey barbecue sauce. Sometimes I'll use the Sweet Baby Ray's as well, just whatever I have on hand. Personally, I know Sweet Baby Ray's is a lot of people's favorites, and that's what I used to buy for a long time. But this little, just, I guess it's the Great Value honey barbecue sauce, tastes so much better to me. I don't know why, because that's what we used to always get. And then I switched to getting this honey barbecue, and it tastes so good. So now that I have the barbecue sauce in there, I'm going to go ahead and mix it all up. Now I'm not adding any liquids to this. This barbecue sauce and the chicken, once it starts cooking, it's going to make its own juices anyways. So you don't want to add anything to it. Now you can keep an eye on it. If yours seems like it's not, then you can go ahead and add a little bit of water or chicken broth or beef broth. Well, not beef broth, it's not beef, but chicken broth, and just keep an eye on it. But if you would like to cook this in the crock pot, let's just say you don't have time to keep an eye on it in the oven, or if you just want to dump it in and go and then come back to it, all you have to do is do the same thing, but just put it straight in your crock pot, turn it on, and then you'll have some barbecue chicken whenever you get back, and it is just so easy. Once it's all seasoned, I'm going to go ahead and cover this with some foil and put it straight in my oven and let it do its thing. I will check on it about an hour in and see how it's doing. I might flip them, and then I'll put it back in for about another 30 minutes to 45 minutes. Before it gets done, I'll take the foil off so kind of brown a little bit, but that is it. So now I wanted to go ahead and make a salad. So I don't know about y'all, but whenever it comes to pre-mixed salad mixes, they just go bad so quick. I don't know if what I'm doing wrong. Maybe I just need to eat them the same day. But if they just sit in my fridge like a day or two, they don't look good. And I hate going and spending money on them just to throw them out. So I decided to go ahead and make my own salad. Now, I love all sorts of veggies. My family can be picky with some things. So I tried to get things that I know we would all like, or, you know, things that they can just easily pick out if they don't like, but just get a little bit of everything. So I like broccoli and cauliflower. I like the purple cabbage. We like cucumbers and lettuce, and then I have the red onion, and also got some carrots as well. So I'm just going to chop all of this up and just make my own salad. And if there's something in there that somebody doesn't want, they can just pick it out. But that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to chop everything up and wash it, put it in a big bowl, and there I go. I have a salad. We'll just have that with some ranch and some bacon bits, and that is going to be another side. Now, one thing that I forgot, well, I didn't forget, it's just I lost footage of, it's actually going to be seasoned potatoes. I will show a clip of it whenever it is done and on the plate, but you won't see how I've made it, so I'll definitely show it again. But it is so easy. You just chop up your potatoes to the size that you want. I kind of do like bite-sized pieces, and then I put them in my baking dish. And to that, I add garlic powder, onion powder, paprika, and chili powder, and then a little bit of salt and pepper and some butter. I'll also add a little bit of cilantro in there too. It just gives it such good flavor. I didn't have cilantro on hand this time, but I usually do add a cilantro to it. So I'm going to go ahead and then I go and just mix that all up. I add a little bit of water in there, probably just like a quarter of a cup, just to kind of help it steam and cook. I cover that with foil, stick it in the oven, and it is super, super easy. So just keep that in mind. I'll show that with you, how I make that in another video. Only thing I felt like I was missing was tomatoes. I like to have some tomatoes in my salad as well. So this is it. Very easy. And this is what the chicken's going to look like when it's done. So now you can see all of the juice that it created. I didn't have to add any in there. So usually I would let it cook a little bit longer and, drain a little bit of the juice and then have some extra barbecue sauce on there so it can be real barbecue-y. But my husband came home earlier and then my son was home. They were ready to eat. And I was like, okay, the meat's done. We'll go ahead and eat. But this is what it looked like. Very, very delicious. I went ahead and made a plate, put some salad on there as well, topped it with some cheese and some bacon bits and ranch, and dinner was served, y'all. Very, very easy. The family loved it. My son had seconds. And as you can see, the potatoes, how I chopped them up, they were super, super delicious. The potatoes are always a hit in my home. So my family actually really loves it. So definitely give the potatoes a try. I will go ahead and film them, like I said, next time I make them too. That way you can kind of get an idea of what they look like and how I prepared them and all of that. So very, very easy dinner, and this was actually budget friendly as well. It did not cost a lot to make this. So next meal we're going to be working on, y'all, is going to be pigs in a blanket. So pigs in a blanket isn't something that we have all the time. It's actually been years since we've had pigs in a blanket. Like I said, it's just came out of nowhere. I thought it sounded good, so I decided to go ahead and get the stuff to make it. Now, this is probably something that's good for a lunch, but we ended up having it for dinner. We don't care when it comes to stuff like that. So it actually was so good. My husband enjoyed it. My son enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. So I was like, okay, so I'm just going to show you how I make mine. Very, very easy. So I went ahead and got the croissant rolls. I got 2 packs of those. I believe they're like an 8 count in each. So I got those and I'm just going to open them up. Now I'm going to do a pack at a time because I think that's all I could fit on there. And then I have these cheddar sausages. They're cheddar smoked sausages, and I like using those. I think they taste so much better. Whenever I'm making chili dogs, I use those as well. I don't really care much for hot dogs, so I just substitute the hot dogs for those. But you can use whatever kind of sausage you want or whatever kind of meat that you want to put in there for your pigs in a blanket. And in a couple of these, I went ahead and added like half a slice of cheese because my son doesn't really care too much for having a lot of cheese on his stuff. So I went ahead and did a half. But then I was like, I'll go ahead and just make him some without cheese and add cheese to the rest, if that makes sense. So I don't know what it is if your kid's like this too, but he'll say he don't like cheese, and then he'll want cheese on some things. On some things he doesn't want cheese. One time you make it, he'll want cheese on it. The next time he doesn't want cheese, and it's just like, I'm so confused. So I was like, okay, I'll just go ahead and make some with half a slice on it, and then I'll make some without cheese on it. That way he can just be, himself, and he can pick out whatever he wants, whether he wants with cheese or a little bit of cheese or a lot of cheese. We have some of it all. So I went ahead and cut them in half as well because they were just going to be too big. I like a lot more bread than the meat, if that makes sense. But when these cooked, it was just the perfect amount anyways. So I'm going to go ahead and just roll them up. Nothing too crazy. It's going to be good either way. And then I'm just going to put them in the oven. That is it. Just super easy. Very, very quick to do. This could be something that you can make in a pinch. And just, I'm sure the kids will love these. Me and my husband, us adults, loved it as well. So this is something that you definitely can't go wrong with. Very, very easy. So just go ahead and place them on your baking dish however you like and pop them in the oven. I don't know how long it took. You could read the instructions on the croissants, but I just kept an eye on them, and once they got to be a little golden brown, I went ahead and got them out, and that was it. And these look so delicious. They were amazing. I probably won't be able to have them again for a while because I went crazy whenever I had some. But they are so good. Super easy. Hope you enjoyed all of these meals and it gave you some inspiration, some ideas, and to get in the kitchen and cook your family a yummy, delicious meal. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and let me know down in the comments section. That way I can continue making these videos. I enjoyed making these and sharing them with you as well. Thank you so much for being here and watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I will see y'all in the next one. All right. Bye, y'all.